3, 2, 1, go. Nice. Alright, so this is a game that probably not a lot of people know because it was not released anywhere else but in Japan. It's called Gunple, Gunman's Proof, and I got to play it on the translation patch, which is probably widely available on the internets if you would feel like playing the game. And yeah, it's a very late Super Nintendo release, and you will very quickly notice it is pretty much a rip-off of A Link to the Past in a lot of like aesthetic ways, and also gameplay, of course. Yeah, game starts out with a 4-minute 41 unskippable cutscene. So yeah, I don't have to press anything. I can usually just go up to the fridge and grab a nice refreshing bottle of water. Excuse me. And yeah, I I don't really feel like going over the plot because I haven't like brushed up on it at all. I guess I'll explain the gist of it. These space sheriffs come down to Earth and they want to capture what are called demi-seeds or something like that, and they need to like possess a human being to carry on their will. So our main protagonist, this guy here, will offer himself for the task. And everything else is just you know, rehashing the Legend of Zelda story, more or less. So there will be what, 6 bosses that we're gonna fight, or 7 bosses, and you know, it's like a world map very similar to Link to the Past, and different areas aren't accessible from the start. You need certain items to be able to access them, and we're going to see all that a bit later. Yeah, this game, I guess you could say it was a bit popular amongst the A Link to the Past community, since it's, again, so similar to A Link to the Past. A couple of the Zelda runners picked this up back in the days, and so yeah, I've always wanted to pick it up back then, procrastinated a lot, but I eventually picked it up in March, and I played a lot since, and I finally am done with it, or at least with the any percent category for now. So yeah, I guess I've put in a lot of time in this game recently, and it was a lot of fun. So here it begins. Now you get busted, so you need to explain yourself to your parents, who are waiting for you at home. So again, I hope people are hearing me at least somewhat okay, because like, I can't speak very loud. People are sleeping. This game unfortunately has quite a bit of text to mash, and there's only one button to advance the text. So mashing only one button gets a bit straining. And that's probably the most unfortunate thing about the speedrun, is the mashing. Bethos 30. This game is playable on a English translation patch. That's the way I got to play it too. So if you want to play it, it's possible, even if you can't read Japanese. Don't worry about that. So yeah. The first couple of minutes is a lot of text mashing, but then we get to actually play the game. Don't worry. Oops. You want to avoid walking in the water. It's a lot slower than any other terrain. Or actually, I wonder if water is as slow as grass, because there's also patches of grass that can slow you down. We'll see that later. I've never wondered if, never asked myself if either of them are slower or if they're just the same. It's not very relevant anyways, so. Okay, we're heading to the first dungeon already, and you'll notice probably that dungeons will go by very fast. The thing is, they're actually pretty large, but if you know where you're going, like, there's all sorts of, not shortcuts, but just the route is overall usually not very long. Also, it's a lot of movement in this game, and not as much fighting as you might see in Legend of Zelda game. Of course, as I said that, there was a combat room. That room was sort of special in it was a locked room. Again, a concept similar to the Legend of Zelda game. So you need to kill all the enemies in the room before you can exit it. I sort of messed up the strat, unfortunately. You could get all 2 shots in with the diagonal strafe. And that's really fast and looks pretty fancy. Unfortunately, I missed it. So you'll notice I took a lot of damage. That's sort of intentional, because you want to, hold on a sec. You want to finish dungeons with a small amount of HP. Is that good? That was good. The smallest amount of HP possible to skip a countdown that happens, because every time you beat a dungeon, there's a score screen. I'll die. I'm so sorry. I've been a bit sick the last couple of days. My throat's still a bit weird. But yeah. After every dungeon you get this score screen that comes up, and one of the things that it counts down is your HP. So the more HP you have, the longer the countdown. So in order to avoid it, we take a bunch of damage. So wow, my stream is holding up. I hope it can... Oh, I'm so sorry. I wish I could mute my mic when I feel it coming up. But I got my hands tied. Mashing the controller. I'm sorry. But yeah. This person who appears to be a donkey is, you know, not really a donkey. He's just a space sheriff like the other two we saw earlier, but he not took the form. He took control over a donkey, and apparently he likes this new form. So we saved him, and he's gonna be useful later. Hopefully. He might not be. Yep, this game came out in '97. That is correct. And some people believe it's unfinished, which would explain a lot how the difficulty fails to ramp up later in the game. It seems to not follow like how much HP, how many lives you have. Because yeah, I probably should have mentioned, you see on the top left, woo, sloppy. See on the top left, I got HP. What you don't see is I also have extra lives. Extra lives make it pretty hard to actually die and like run out of lives. So when you die, if you have an extra life, you just stand back up. Like nothing happened. You just get all your life back. So it's very non-punishing. Here, very important not to get the second gun upgrade. Yeah, this is the gun shop. I just got a gun upgrade. It's a machine gun. It's a sub-weapon. So I need to get a sub-weapon drop to be able to use it. And we're not going to get it right away. It's not going to be very useful until, well, I mean, we're going to get it soon. It's in the third dungeon. It's in about 5 minutes. The thing about that weapon is it stops your movement. It's good DPS, but you can't really use it to go fast since you can't move with it. So yeah, this is the second dungeon. Again, it looks pretty short. Almost done. But if you don't know where to go, it's a pretty large dungeon, and you'll find that there's, you know, a lot of fun different types of rooms. There's mini bosses, there's A lot more content than what you're seeing right now. And there was a quick kill. I didn't mention, but we're using bombs to kill bosses really fast. Bombs deal a suspicious amount of damage. We don't really know how it works. I'm sorry. Yeah, we don't really know how the bombs deal their damage exactly. I feel like, well, probably other people have come to this conclusion, but if the hitbox follows the blast animation, because it goes in all sorts of directions, it looks a bit weird. So like if the hitbox of what you're trying to hit more or less follows those blast animations, it'll do more damage. But there's also a way to have the bomb explode for twice as long just by timing it in a certain way, and that's just weird and nobody understands it. Someone mentioned this game looks super easy. It is. I won't deny that most of it is really easy, but what it comes down to is these you know, tight bomb throws, the quick kills you can do on the bosses that save a lot of time, and they're pretty precise. The ones I've been doing aren't super precise, but the ones near the end, you can save up to like 40-45 seconds by getting these 2 or 3 frame bomb throws in a really specific position. And so yeah, it is easy, but at a high level you could say it's still a pretty challenging run. So here, I don't know if anybody sees it, but the sand looked like Marge Simpson's. I should have probably called it earlier so you guys could see it. Actually picture it. That's too late, I'm sorry. That's just something I noticed and never actually told anyone. So I figured now that I'm playing in front of, I don't know how many people, but much more than what I normally stream for, I figured I'd drop that hot piece of info. I did a weird movement there in that screen to manipulate the pelicans so that they wouldn't drop a bomb on me, which would have slowed me down quite a bit. Here we're gonna farm for a Uzi, and we got 3. We only need 1. And this is how fast the Uzi kills stuff. Whoops, come on. Sorry, it kills stuff pretty fast, but like I said, it stops your movement, so you don't want to use that in a lot of situations. Come on, dude. Now this has been pretty bad so far, because I've been hoping for some bomb drops. And yeah, from this point on, the run is a lot about hoping for the drops. So I said earlier, it was about getting a good time was about landing tight 2-frame inputs. It's actually about getting really lucky. Sorry, I lied. But yeah, I was supposed to, well, not supposed to, but I had a couple opportunities so far to get bomb drops. I haven't had any so far. So there's one. Good. Hopefully my luck picks up. Not all enemies drop bombs. Like in that room, none of them dropped bombs. Only 2 of them dropped an Uzi, and I got 1 of them, so. And another thing about drops is every one of them is 25%. Like, I mean, let's say a certain enemy drops 4 different types of items, which is pretty much always the case as far as I know. They have a 25% of dropping each of the items they can drop. That was super lucky. I got all the drops I could have hoped for. Wow, okay. So, this fight with 2 bombs is ideal. Having 3 bombs is the maximum, so even if I had another bomb drop, it would have been useful. And yeah, I can use 2 bombs in this fight. That's 1, and that's 2. And now we are going to die a bunch of times on the boss, because what happens if you lose all your lives is you don't lose any of your progress. You just get returned to the village, which is convenient if that's where you want to go next. Now we're gonna go and collect the bounty. So that was 4 deaths. That's how many extra lives I had. So I'm still gonna take a bit of damage, but now we're just gonna collect this orb and go take a death on the overworld. Yeah, discount Trinix. Yeah, that was a pretty nice Trinix fight. Alright, exiting this dungeon, you can wait at the top of the staircase, like this, and you get a triple hit there. Nice, I got it. The pelican deals 2 damage, so you want to take damage from the pelican, not the other bird. Whoops. That's fine. Alright, so that's the death warp. We're back at the town. We're gonna go collect the bounty. This bounty will help us buy the Holy Cross, which will be used to scare away the ghosts, who's blocking off the access to the next dungeon, which we're not gonna beat. You'll see it in a moment. So it'll be the only glitch that you'll see in the run. As far as I know, it's the only glitch in the game. The only one we found through trying to speedrun this game. And I say we, but I'm in no way responsible for finding this glitch. Way before my time. And what's good is we have an Uzi. I mean, we have a lot of ammo for the machine gun, because we're gonna need to farm some enemies right after the glitch. Yeah, I guess I'll explain the glitch. You take a hit from an enemy, or in this case a projectile, on the same frame as you toggle the pause menu, and it'll put you in a weird state where if you enter a transition and then pop the map up for some reason, you can get some kind of like screen warp. In this case, it will allow us to access a nice first try, as I said, 1 frame trick. Yeah, it'll let us access the next dungeon. way before. We're supposed to get the flippers before we get to... Nice, we got the drop. Before we get to access this next dungeon. But yeah, this glitch saves about 5 minutes by skipping the whole dungeon. And the farm went really fast. I still have a lot of, well, just the right amount of machine gun ammo. This is going really good. As far as my luck goes, like, this is really surprising. Much better than my last marathon run, say that much. Oops, that's fine. I really don't mind taking damage here. Not that way. You're supposed to boost me the other way. I don't mind taking damage here because I need to take 2 deaths to set up a second death warp after this dungeon. They're the only 2 death warps we use in the run, but they save quite a good amount of time. Here's a cool boost. I'll skip the boost. Sorry. I mean, it's not that cool, but probably should have done it. Yeah, you can route your damage in a way that's like more efficient, and I tried to do that, but I didn't get a hit from the crab in the corridors. And this guy won't hit you, because as long as they don't spot you, they don't have a hitbox. Or at least that's what I understand about those particular enemies. I don't think it's the case with everyone. So yeah, the gold coin that we farmed is so that we don't have to collect a bounty. So it's not like a big time save necessarily, but the route kind of, like the run kind of required it, since it was possible. And not only possible, it was quite likely actually, because you get 6 chances at a 25% drop. So you're supposed to get that drop most of the time. Yeah, it was so we can afford the next item, but also the money that this shady dude has been taking from us. Now I need to take some damage. There's 1, just to be sure. Yeah, this dude, he's greedy. He takes $2,100 from you just to let you access the final room, which he is the boss of, obviously. What's funny about this boss is he's actually the same boss from the last dungeon, which you're supposed to have completed, but we didn't. So he like reveals himself right now and says like, "Aha, it was me all along." But like, we've never seen him before. But yeah, the characters and the dialogues in this game are pretty funny. I'll just focus a bit. Good. Okay, good. I wanted to die there because I can get a nice quick kill on this next section, and I'd rather not have to worry about taking damage. Like I said, I'm setting up a death warp for after this dungeon. That might be good. Oh yeah, that was good. Nice. I thought it might have been a bit late. on the bomb throw. But yeah, I found a pretty good cue that makes it easy to react instead of like anticipating when to shoot the bomb. So I got that pretty consistent. Like finding consistent quick kills was really what made it a lot easier to speedrun this game. Whoops. I'm so used to splitting. Yeah, this game used to be a lot harder when we didn't have setups for the quick kills. So yeah, we're gonna take 2 deaths on the nearest enemy, at least one that deals a decent amount of damage to kill us fast enough. Just this dude. His animation's pretty funny. I think most people will agree that he's a pretty goofy looking minion. Just in tune with the rest of this game, to be honest. Like, you don't get to read the text, but a lot of it is pretty goofy. Alright, here comes the hardest part of the run. And when I say hardest, I don't necessarily mean it's technically difficult, but it's actually physically hard. The mashing that's like required to be fast in this section is pretty ridiculous. Or at least I know some people can get a good mashing without it being too physically harming, but my technique is because you need to hold the B button and mash the A button. So just imagine that. What I do is I hold down the B button with my thumb and I mash with my index curved inside, which is typically called the claw formation. I guess I'm taking it a bit easy since it's not a very serious run, although it's been going really good so far. But yeah, normally in like a hardcore PB attempt, I'm trying to mash really fast and my elbow starts hurting. Like, it's hard to keep it consistent. Especially in this room. This screen is pretty long. Yeah, that was pretty bad. It's late, okay. And my elbow just cracked. But yeah, this is one of the reasons why I feel very relieved of being done with the game, because I was actually starting to hurt my arm, like doing long attempts, long nights of attempts at this game. So yeah, the guy we saw on the island just like a minute ago is this guy's brother, and he's pretty useless. He just says, "Go visit my brother." He'll teach you something. And he teaches us the uppercut, the shoryuken, if you will, copied from Street Fighter. So they not only copied A Link to the Past, they also managed to steal from another icon of video games. But it's a pretty crafty power-up, or at least how it's used, because you use it to go up waterfalls. It's genius, isn't it? Oh boy, I think I'm starting to drop frames. That's bad. I apologize if I start chopping up. So yeah, we've seen this road before, but yep, taking a different path. Oops. That's fine. Yeah, I got boosted backwards, but normally you don't mind taking damage here. There's not many other places you can take damage in the next dungeon, and it's no different from other bosses where you want to, as much as possible, finish with low HP so you can avoid a long countdown on the score screen. Here's a cool minute, if I can get it. Nice. So if those guys land their fire shot on you, you lose like a second and a half maybe. So baiting their shots in a way that allows you to move out of the way afterwards can be a bit tricky. Worked out this time. Another locked room. There are 3 locked rooms in this. Hold on. It's not even important anyways. Okay, so we got through the bridge. This has ended a couple runs, because you want to get boosted, obviously not off either sides, because you'd get boosted off the walkway. You want to get boosted behind them, and you need to line yourself up pretty good. Whoops. Okay. Here's the next boss. Whoops, forgot to kill those guys. This boss is a lot of shooting and moving and avoiding the fireballs. But this form isn't very strong. I guess I shouldn't spoil the comparison. You'll see later. So this is Mary, and this is Sally, and they are gonna kick my ass, or something like that. What was that? Translation. So, I want to say one of the main skills in the speedrun is to get the timing on the fire rate, the rate at which you can shoot the gun. You want to get that as tight as possible, obviously, to get as many shots in as fast as you can. Twin Robot Unleashed crossover. Yep. That's spot on. It's funny because you didn't even see her kick move. Because normally if you get too close to her, she does some kind of kick. It's like a backflip kick, and it's very, very reminiscent of Chun-Li's moveset. I was forgetting where to go for a second. I want to farm a carrot. A carrot, nice, we got it. This carrot is useful for obvious reasons. And you'll probably wonder why I didn't want a carrot earlier, since if you've paid attention, I've had this ability unlocked since the beginning of the game. This is what I got for finishing the first dungeon. So you might wonder why this is the first time you see him. It's because you can't open chests, you can't enter dungeons. There's a number of things you can't do when you're riding the donkey, and a lot of the other overworld movement sections are too short to benefit from the fast ride you get from him. So you patiently wait for a good occasion to use them, and there are 2 back-to-back. So there's this one that got us back to the village. Now there's a nice little cutscene. So you tell the chief that you got 6 demi-seeds, or 5 demi-seeds, which are the things you collect from each boss. And he says, oh, well, go ahead and get the 7th one, because apparently 6 is not enough. And you get intercepted by your friend. There's a whole romantic story going on between these two characters, which will be cut short in a second. I like how he just drops from top of the screen. And you'll never expect what comes next. What a turn of events. So now we gotta get the girl back. And we want a carrot. Will we get the carrot? We got corn. It's almost a carrot. We didn't get a carrot, because we only get 3 shots. Those are the only 3 enemies that will drop the carrot. So, as fast as the donkey looked, it's actually not that much faster from running. It's very surprising, because running seems a lot slower. But I don't know if it's the animation when you get the donkey that's too long, but for some reason I timed it to be only like 6.5 or 7 seconds slower to only run to the dungeon. So it's not tragic at all. This run is still on a very good pace. So this is the Gunple equivalent of Ganon's Tower. It's not as challenging. Not even close. Like, it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad how, like I said at the beginning of the run, the difficulty in the game does not seem to ramp up that much. Or if it does, I don't see it. Well, we're not seeing it because some of it is in rooms that we're not visiting, of course. We're only seeing half of this dungeon. It's like approximately half of it, but it's pretty close to that. The other half has like mini boss, at least one mini boss, probably just one mini boss, and a lot more fighting. You get a armor upgrade, well, I mean a suit upgrade, which either gives you +1 attack or +1 defense. Not useful at all, not worth the trip downstairs in this tower. We'd rather go up to the roof where we can fight the boss. And this is probably one of the harder fights, well, for sure one of the harder fights. It's either this or the final boss. He has 4 phases, and you can skip a lot of like cycles. The cycles are pretty short, they're like 1 second apart. But yeah, it really depends on the timing of your shots, if you can get them tight enough and position yourself well enough. that's for the 3 first phases. The 4th phase has a fancy quick kill, again with bombs, or just 1 bomb, which I found purely by accident, and thankfully I was recording, so I got to reproduce it. So here it comes. First phase is easy, but focus for the rest. Whoops. Let's see. Okay. Did I get it? Oh my god. Okay. At first I couldn't even find the pixel that I was supposed to stand on. So I almost panicked and just moved right out of the way. But it turns out I was more or less well positioned. I was just a couple pixels too low, so I moved up at the last second and threw the bomb, and that was apparently the proper timing. So I kind of lucked out. That is again a either 2 or 3 frame window for the bomb throw. From that position, I'm pretty sure it was a 2 frame because it was pretty bad. But yeah, nailed it. And here comes another. It's Contra now. Yeah. I've never put those together, but I guess that was that boss in Contra or which game is it? Contra 3 Alien Wars. Boss of the 4th level, I think. Yeah. Good call. Wild Wild West. Yep. It's the same period. Or maybe Wild Wild West was like the year after, so it's probably inspired by this game. So yeah, here's another cutscene. It's like maybe 40-45 seconds long. More text to mash. Continuation of this romantic adventure. Sorry. And coming next is the last real RNG factor. We need another carrot drop. Enemies in the next screen will drop them, again at a 25% drop rate. So I just want to get lucky and hope that one out of the 5 enemies in the screen will drop a carrot. The odds are in my favor, but I've had a couple really bad become really bad at this point. So we'll see what this run reserves me. So we're gonna speak to our space sheriff ally, and he will grant us permission to use Roboton, the donkey, to access the headquarters, which makes total sense. So I want a carrot. Wow, second try. So the luck I got in this run is almost similar, almost equivalent to to the luck I got in my record run. So this is a really, really good pace. I'm not really looking at the splits or the timer or anything, so we'll see what happens. I still need to get a little bit lucky. So I said I was done with RNG, but not exactly. But I especially need to get good, or remain good, for the next 4 minutes. So yeah, this last dungeon is the Refight Dungeon. A concept they borrowed from A Link to the Past, Mega Man games, probably a couple others, I'm just not thinking, but yeah, there's definitely a couple games that have done this before them. But yeah, you know, imitating things that worked is a recipe for success, right? I want to get lucky here. Hold on. Okay. Oh yeah, okay, lucky and good. So I skipped the fire. I skipped the fire pattern. He shoots the gun, and this fire bar comes out and just lingers on the screen for 6 seconds. So skipping that animation or that cycle saves 6 seconds. So that was really good, because you need to get, on the uppercut you do to open up the fight, you need to get all 3 hits to connect, and that seems to be completely random. Or at least a lot of people have tried to make it consistently hit all 3, but nobody seems to be able to. We just don't know why. This boss up. He's not hard at all. Yeah, say hi to Trinex again. We don't need to take damage from him. There is a score screen at the end of the game, which is a little bit ridiculous, but... Okay, I got him. That was close. I don't want to get an extra cycle for no reason. But yeah, we're approaching the end of the game. There's one more boss refight, and we're on to the final boss afterwards. This refight is what I was gonna compare this Twin Rova Chun-Li fight to earlier, which is the ultimate Twin Rova Chun-Li fight. Is literally how it happens in Ocarina of Time, since you have to fight both of them at the same time. And that's what happens. It was not a great fight, but not bad. This pace is almost making me nervous, because I know what kind of time I might be getting, and that would be absolutely ridiculous. Alright. Robot Indian. That's a pretty cool minion concept for you. Robot Indian. Or Indian robot, however you like. And here is the final boss. We got an item earlier from the merchant. I was talking on top of it. I didn't actually mention what was going on at the time, But yeah, the merchant gives us a China bomb. I think that's what it's called. 4-year-old bomb. And we thought it would be good to get rid of Demi, which is the name of this final boss. But apparently not. Barely scratched. Lights. Maestro. And enjoy the final fight. Should be over pretty quick, but there's 3 phases to it. Nice. Alright, we skipped a couple of cycles. Come on. Oh my god. Okay. Could have killed the last phase a bit faster. I thought I had the right timing on the bomb. But it's okay. And time. Wow. Okay. Oh man. Oh man, I'm dropping a lot of frames. Oh, I'm so sorry. Oh man. Yeah, this run was ridiculous. This run was really good. My goal for a pretty long time was just to get a 56 whatever, and it took me a lot of time. It took me a lot of time to get the luck to line up the way I needed it to, and apparently it could have happened easily on this run. Ah, jeez. I'm really sorry about the frame drops. Man, thanks a lot, everyone. So I'm given the green light to play my next game. we're gonna cut the next game. And hopefully the slideshow stops.